Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of our Community Access. This week, we went to Addison Township, where the folks from Enbridge gave them a $15,000 check. We'll tell you about that. Then, we went to Leonard to give the scoop on the old mill, and we'll tell you that story, too. Then, we had a great party for the Oxford girls basketball team, who won the White Division champion this year, and we'll show you that party, too. And finally, another great ribbon cutting in Oxford, all today in our Community Access. Welcome back. Last week, the folks from Enbridge gave a check for $15,000 for Addison Township. With the story is our reporter, Pauline Bennett.
$150,000.
What's going on here today, Bruce?
Well, Enbridge has graciously given us a donation so that we can purchase a handicap dock to put on our Lake George in our park system. And they're giving us a $15,000 check for that purpose so that we can have handicapped people and our wounded veterans come and use our park and have a dock where they can put their kayak or their canoe on and get in there safely, and then it slides right into the water. So that's what we asked them for, and they graciously gave it to us.
That's a very generous donation, and we have somebody from Enbridge. Would you tell us what your position and who you are?
Absolutely. My name is Jason Mitchum, and I work with our U.S. Public Affairs division here for Enbridge, stationed right here in Michigan. And when this opportunity came across my desk, I looked at it and we thought, this is a perfect fit. You know, we have been in this community here for about 50 years now. And in addition to that, we've just completed a major pipeline replacement that has run right through this township. And because of that work and our long-standing relationship here with the township, we wanted to make sure that we could do something to really show our partnership, our appreciation with the township, because during construction, you know, there are a lot of added vehicles, people in the communities, and we know that for some that can be a temporary inconvenience. So at the end of the day, this came across our desk, and we looked at it as a positive on an environmental front, recreational front, and also, of course, as Bruce mentioned, for wounded veterans. When you put all of that together, it was a perfect fit for us, and we are very pleased to provide a $15,000 contribution for the project.
Well, we thank you very much, but I believe Enbridge also participates throughout other communities with this as well.
Absolutely. You know, we have partnered with nonprofits in various communities where we operate, you know, over our 50-year history. But in particular, on this pipeline replacement over the last couple of years, we have partnered in communities to provide environmental stewardship grants. And those have been done up and down a almost 300-mile corridor of pipeline that begins in northwest Indiana and ends near Port Huron. And this, again, fits with our philosophy to be a good steward of our resources, be a good neighbor in these communities, and really focus on safety, health, and environmental stewardship.
All very important. And now, with $15,000, can you kind of explain what type or what size of a dock we're going to have?
Well, first of all, as you remember, I believe back in 2009, I went up to Lansing and petitioned up in Lansing for a grant to purchase the Lake George property so that we could open that up to the public. And part of our application was to be able to provide a hunting and fishing and recreational place for people who have disabilities. And so I'm very happy that Enbridge is helping us fulfill that, because as you know, we would have to do this kind of in a slow manner to get these things in over the years, but Enbridge has really sped up that process now. So this summer, the Parks Division will go out and they'll start pricing the docks. There's one at Lost Lake in Oakland Township that we've already looked at, and it's a beautiful setup where it will go up probably about 40 feet, and it has an L, and then it has rollers where the canoe or the kayak fits right on there, and then it has a staging area where you can come in a wheelchair, get into your kayak, and then push this out. And as you know, we have Christmas in Action, and we partner with Garmin Industries, who helps us raise money to keep our seniors in the home, but they also donate an awful lot of money to Selfridge to help the families over there, and we certainly want to help all the veterans that are coming back with disabilities and open up our park so they can come and enjoy it instead of having to go all the way up north.
So this is a win-win for everyone involved.
Yes, yes it is.
And before we close, is there anything that you might like to add to those that are listening?
Just that, we have had a presence here again for 50 years. We'll continue to have a presence here for decades to come as we deliver energy safely to Michigan and greater parts of the Midwest. And as we do that, as we provide that energy, again, we are partnering with communities like Addison Township and other nonprofit organizations where we can make positive improvements in things like the environment and health and safety. So Bruce, I do truly appreciate you bringing this to our attention because it is what we are striving, to achieve here at Enbridge. And on behalf of Enbridge Energy, I would like to present to you this $15,000 check for the handicap accessible dock. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We certainly do appreciate it. $15,000 to the Addison Township Park System so we can help our disabled friends in the area come and enjoy our parks and our recreation. Thank you very much.
And on that positive note, I think we'll end. Thank you all for watching.
Pretty good folks at Enbridge. Next up, Pauline went to Leonard to check on the old mill. Pauline?
Hi, and we're in the village of Leonard now with the president, Michael McDonald. How are you today?
Good, very good. Thank you for coming. It's nice to have you here.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm really excited about the news. But before we get into the new grant money, could you give us a background about the building that you and the village are saving?
I'd be happy to. We're talking about the former Leonard Elevator / mill. It started out as an elevator operation before 1900 in the late 1800s. And an addition was put on that was commonly referred to as the beanery, and it's it was the slightly shorter part of the structure, and it was in operation all the way through as a mill / store all the way through 2005. But it suffered some structural damage to the roof at that time, and the owner did not care to make the repairs. It's a big building and very expensive. So it fell into disuse and disrepair. So the village acquired the property through a Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund grant. It was approved in 2010, but the purchase did not occur until 2014. And now we're caught up as far as the village is in ownership, and we're trying to restore and repurpose the property and the structure.
Was there a driving force behind this? I mean, did it just come out of nowhere? Did the residents we want to save? I mean, how did it start?
Well, it started when after the roof collapsed and the former owner decided that he did not want to keep the building or repair it. So there was a sale. And in the course of the sale, there was not much information, and people began to wonder what was going to happen. And so signs started to spring up around the village, save the mill, because there was a lot of uncertainty. And actually, I was not in office at the time, but my wife and Charlene Sotheby both put signs up in their yards. And the rest is kind of history. The village council decided that, well, we should give it a shot to try and save the mill, and if we can't, at least we'll have tried. And so that's really part of this process now, is just trying to repurpose the property, make it an economic generator for the community. Give Leonard a reason for people to want to come here and see something special and something different.
And it's nice when you have projects within the community that everyone supports and is behind it. There's that excitement going on.
Yes.
But I've heard now that it has spread even outside of the community and that you've actually received more grants. Could you explain what those are about?
Well, yes. It's been a very busy, it hasn't even been a year yet since the village has owned the parcel. And we received two grants, actually. One was a grant and one was kind of an in-kind donation. The only other mill that I'm aware of in Oakland County is located in South Lyon. And the owner there could no longer justify the expense of keeping it up. It was on the premises of his hardware store that he owns. And there was little or no interest in the community, it would appear, to try and preserve the building. And so they are going to demolish it. So in the course of that, Oakland County Economic Development apparently had been in contact with them and knew about our project, and they've been very supportive. And so they put us together with the owners, Bruce Pearson, the Addison Township supervisor, and myself, along with some other volunteers. We went down there, met with the mill owners and the management, and worked out a deal. And they donated a clipper cleaner, which maybe some of our more experienced agricultural residents and listeners and watchers would recognize. It's an agricultural device to help clean seed, corn, beans. It's a multi-purpose type machine. We got a mill that was used to crack corn and mill corn. We got some of the old-fashioned elevator cup conveyors that are used to transport the grains in the mill. We got a lot of stuff that will make eventually, we hope, a really great public education type event, or a destination is really what we're looking for.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, we're blessed. And almost actually it was right on the heels of that donation, the 4-county Community Foundation, which is located actually up here in northern Oakland County, St. Clair County, Lapeer County, and boy, I'm going to get in trouble for this one. There is another county involved. We applied to them for a grant to do roof repairs on the elevator structure itself. And they came through for us. We've received an $8,000 donation, which will at least cover the cost of the material. And so that's another project that we're looking for help on. We'll be talking to roofing contractors to try and get them involved. So if you're out there and you're listening, give us a hand.
Maybe we'll run that website on there so that people can contact you as well.
That would be great. There is a website specifically for the Leonard Mill, and it's actually it's www.leonardmill.com, and on that site there's information, pictures, opportunities to donate, opportunities to volunteer, but basically just learn a little bit more about the history of the structure and a little bit about the village too.
One question that arose after listening to you, said that you're going to refurbish. So it sounds like you're going to bring some of the old things into that, but you're also going to be adding, when you say refurbish, it sounds like you're going to be doing new things to the building as well. So what do you anticipate, or what do you expect to do with the building?
Well, ultimately we want to make it a community-oriented facility, which means that it'll have a museum area to kind of track the history of the original Pontiac Orion and Port Austin rail line and how it evolved into the Pollyant Trail that we have today. And then the beanery structure, which was the portion that suffered the collapse and damage back in 2004, 2005. Because it's been neglected, we can't save it. We've been in there and tried to figure out ways to do it, but the weather and the damage is too severe. So that part of the structure is going to have to be removed. We're in the process of doing that now. But ultimately, we intend to apply to the State Department of Natural Resources, and MDOT has a transportation alternatives program that also will fund non-motorized type grant activity to encourage people to use alternate forms of transportation. So we're going to apply to them for assistance, a grant, to be able to someday, we hope, rebuild or recreate the facades of the original beanery structure. And it was unique in that because of the angle of the railroad and the angle of the roadway and the building, it was a very acute corner on one end of the building. And that was probably what most people noticed the most about the structure was it didn't have square corners. It had very tight corners on that side. So we're hopeful that we'll get the support that's going to be needed, and we'll get the grants, and we'll go from there.
Well, if you're ready to brave the cold, how about you show us some of these things?
I'd be happy to take you down there and show you these things, although it needs work. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. We're really in the beginning stages of getting things done down there.
Alrighty, let's go.
Okay, so we're here at the location of the old mill. So could you tell us what happened here?
Well, this is a product, this was a deliberate product of volunteers. The eastern wall had started to collapse, and we were afraid that it would fall onto the Pollyant Trail, which is right here in the foreground towards us. And so we had a couple of work days. A bunch of volunteers from the community came out, and we took down the dangerous part of the wall and started cleaning out the debris that you can see inside. Believe it or not, it was much more material there than there is now. And our plan is to finish cleaning this up this spring when the weather permits and we can get in there and start back to work.
So then what's the phase, or what do you anticipate to do in this area that's collapsed?
Well, we'll get out any artifacts, the old mixing vessels there, and
Yes.
that will probably be removed, and then we'll dispose of the wood that can't be saved. We're going to try and keep some of the wood to reuse, to give
Very
that
nice.
same flavor of the mill to the public, and but most of this will be removed, and all that will be remaining standing will be the original elevator building itself.
Okay, so that's the part that's going to remain.
Right. And then, God willing, we'll get some grants and some assistance from the DNR and other sources, and we'd like to rebuild the beanery structure, at least the facade, and have it serve as kind of a community center to be available for people to use if they want to have an activity in the community or on the trail. You know, trail users could have meetings, and runners, and
So this could almost be like a rest stop for the Pollyant Trail.
You nailed it. That's exactly what
That's
we're
just
looking
right over
to
here.
do.
Perfect. Very nice.
Right.
Well, before we go, I do want to thank you for showing us the building. You do
Yeah.
have your work cut out for you.
Yes, it's probably worse than it looks, if that's believable. But it's been amazing how much work we have gotten done
I think
just
it's
with
great.
volunteers.
Yes, it's a wonderful project for you guys to undertake. So before we go, though, is anything you'd like to share about the project in the near future?
Well, the best thing to do is to check the website, and you can always call the village if you have some questions or you have some information that you think you want to share with us. We're looking for stories from people that remember the mill. It's all part of the overall project to try and preserve this as a symbol of a way of life and was really the bedrock foundation of a lot of communities, and repurpose it and give it new life.
It's a great idea. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank
and
you.
hopefully we'll come back and see some progress next time.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yes, alrighty, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pauline. Next up, we went to the 24th Street Sports Restaurant where we helped to celebrate the Oxford Ladies Varsity White Division Championship. It took 14 years to get a championship, and what a great party we had. With the story is our sports reporter, Rod Wright. Rod?
Okay, we are here with the Murphy sisters. Which one's older? Which one is it? It's you, isn't it?
A little bit.
I thought so. You're more mature.
Right.
How's your sister doing in college?
She's doing good. She's really liking Grand Valley.
So last night, the last home game, and all those years that Mom drove you to a basketball practice, it all kind of come to an end. Was it sad, bittersweet?
Yeah, it was definitely sad and exciting. I didn't cry, but it was definitely a lot of fun, and it was crazy to think that we're all already seniors. It went by fast.
It does go by fast, doesn't it? I think maybe you owe your mother maybe a big hello, a thank you, and all that.
Gotta tell my mom and dad thank you for everything. We all wrote letters to our parents how much we appreciate everything they've done over the years. So.
Well, you're the product of all that they put into. Anything you want to say?
I'm just so proud of her for working so hard and enjoyed every minute of it.
It really is worth it, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, the more you put into your kids, it just comes back. It comes back tenfold. I know.
It's so fun to watch all the kids play together. They played so well.
I know. You know, you really became very mature out there. We saw you as a sophomore. You had all the talent and stuff, but Jessica Murphy now is so mature. I mean, you do everything. I mean, drawing fouls and just stuff. You make it look easy, but you really matured out there, you know?
Yeah, thanks.
And you're a master at getting the body and getting on the line.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been working on my free throws, trying to get my percentage up, so.
Yeah, I think 85% is pretty good.
Thanks. Yeah, you know, I was hoping for 90.
Yeah. Well, no, that was the thing. I keep, when you're playing, I said, guys, watch Bannis, watch Murphy, watch her go in there. If she can't make the shot, she's going to get the body put on her. She's going to go to the line. She's going to kill you there. I mean, you do all the little things that don't show up in the statistics. You did a great job. You've been a great basketball player, and really enjoyed you.
Thank you.
And your family, too. Your mom and dad are wonderful, and your sister's was great, too.
Yeah, it was great playing 2 years with my older sister, so that was a lot of fun.
Kind of loud up there. We're watching the game right now, so there we go. Jessica Murphy and her mother, Shar. Thank you, ladies.
What has been your favorite moment of this season so far? My favorite moment would probably have to be the pep talks before all the games, and yeah, that's about it. Can you give us a quick example of that pep talk? Well, usually I try and get the girls a little hyped up before our games because I know some of them are nervous or whatever reason, and I just I say this thing where I ask them, what are we going to get tonight? And then they scream that W, and then I always say, I can't hear you, and then I tell them to scream it louder. Something like that, I mean. I don't know.
Good talking to you, Nina.
Oh, you think you're done, don't you? Let's go get started.
Hi, we are here with Caitlin Wright and Logan Medell. And I'm just going to ask them a few questions about the Oxford season. This is Logan Medell. I wanted to ask you how you feel about the season so far and how far you think we will make it.
So far the season has been really good, and I think we'll make it as far as we set our minds to.
Good answer, and we're going to move over to Caitlin Wright. Right over here, Caitlin. I want you to turn to the camera. This next game coming up, districts, how do you think we are going to react to Stony Creek and then also playing at another court, Lake Orion, that we are not comfortable at. How do you think we're going to react to that?
Well, I think we've played at Lake Orion like enough times to know the court, and I think Coach will prepare us for the game.
Okay, thank you, guys. Have a nice evening. I'm here with Coach Emmert, Nina Wallachevich.
You weren't supposed to do that.
And we're just gonna ask him a couple questions about the season and future games that we plan to have. I just want to ask you a question about our next district game, or our first district game. I was wondering, how do you feel we're gonna do on this versus Stony Creek, and then also on Lake Orion Court, not being our home court? How do you think we will do?
But the court's the same size as ours, big.
Right.
Okay, so that's to our advantage. We've played on it quite a few times. I think we'll be ready for Stony Creek. We split with them. We have good preparation. Coach Breyer and I have worked. We worked together again tonight on it, on things that we want to do offensively. Defensively, I think we're pretty solid. Offensively, we want to adjust some things. I'm not going to share them with the camera, but there's some things that you're aware of that we're going to try to adjust. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think we have a great shot of doing a lot of good things in this Michigan high school tournament.
And I have one more question for you. I was wondering how you are going to prepare your girls in the next few days for this upcoming game. Is it anything different than past games, or?
I don't really think it's much different than any other game, except that it means a little bit more. You go 20 games. You go 20 games to the regular season, and you say, well, it's over with now, but it's not over with. Now the pressure's on a little bit more. And my whole premise all year long is to apply pressure. And so that when you get into these big games, you're able to handle that type of pressure. I don't worry about my girls. I mean, I hate to say my girls, but this team here can handle pressure mentally, and I really enjoy that.
Okay. Thank you, Coach Emmert, for answering a few questions of us. We are going to move over to Mrs. Banis. We're here with Mrs. Banis, Sherilyn's mom, number 10, point guard of Oxford High School. We're going to ask her a few questions. I wanted to start off with, when you're in the stands, we often hear you. And how do you feel in the stands? Like, what gets you so hyped up about our games that you're just so, what gets you hyped up about our games?
Well, first of all, I'm very competitive, and I've always been an athlete all my life, so that's number one. And it runs in the family. But I just love watching you girls. You guys are just in my heart. So I love all you girls so much. And a lot of the girls have been together for so long. You guys are like all my kids. So to watch you guys play, I live for that. I live for your games. It might sound silly, but I live for the games. I love the game. So.
Good job, Rod, and good congratulations again for the Lady Cats White Division Championship. Next up, we went to another ribbon cutting from the Chamber of Commerce in Oxford. This time was for the ribbon of cutting for Genesee's opening.
Good morning and welcome to everyone to our beautiful community of Oxford. I'm Debbie Uren, President of the Oxford Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber is so happy to be a part of today's grand opening for Genesis. I've known Kevin for a number of years, and I'm so proud and happy for him. Their new location is beautiful, and it's been a long time in the making. Welcome to your new home, Kevin and Jack.
Well, that's all the time for this week. We hope you enjoyed our program. Now, our program, by the way, is now at 9:30 in the morning and 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. And do not miss any of our stories on our community access. So, for our reporters Pauline Bennett and Rod Wright, and for our editor Terry Stile, who's on vacation, I'm Bill Service, and you have a great, great week.